All right, YouTube, how you guys doing? Axel here. So I just finished doing an interview with one of our members, one of our EA clients that has been with us for a little while right now. And basically we did a little interview where he spoke about his experience and whatnot. Just to let you know, a little background story kind of thing. This guy has been absolutely killing it on our Discord. And there's a thing on our Discord where the people who are most consistent get a crown next to their name. So this guy is one of our crowned members, which means he's been really consistent for months and months on end. And he's always posting every single day his results and whatnot. And this guy right now has over 3 funded accounts. So they're fully funded. He gets paid out from, he uses the EA on all 3 of them. And yeah, he's been absolutely killing it. He's gonna talk to us about how long he's been doing this, his usage strategy, and his preferred sessions, all kinds of other things that you will benefit from if you're already a member. And if you're not a member and you're a new person watching this, then this just goes to prove you how this EA works and that it does actually work and it's not just some weird scam shit or whatever. This is real. This is a real company. We have real clients with real results. So let's jump straight into it and go to the interview. Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Good, good, brother. I see you got your little setup and everything ready, huh?
I know I used to have a podcast, but when I focused on trading, I just wanted my mind on one thing. But yeah, I have a podcast, but I haven't really done anything in a minute for it.
That's nice, man. I've been seeing you, man. I've been seeing you on the Discord. You've been fucking killing it every day, that consistency.
Yeah, that's the key for me. Consistency is a key because I would rather make $100 every day for the rest of my life other than risking. Like if I'm not there yet, you know what I mean? Other than try and gamble. Yeah, so.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So yeah, just to let you know, I started recording this for the interview. This way we can share this with our peoples on our Discord and the rest of the peoples on Telegram, YouTube, all of that. So they can get inspired from you because you've been fucking killing it like crazy. And at the same time, they can learn more, learn how you use the EA, all of that good stuff. So to get started, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How long ago did you get the EA?
So for the EA, I got it. This was November of last year. So I started using it November, but then through December, January. So I didn't actually. So I was actually actively starting it. Started using it in November, but honestly, I did not become profitable and consistent up until about 3 months ago. So that's like May-ish, April-ish. So yeah, I got it on November 2021.
Yeah, so basically you're one of the OG people because that's basically when we released it, right? That's when, yeah, that's around the time when we first released it.
Yeah, because I started following you when you were just, passing the challenge by yourself.
Yeah.
And then after when you came up with this new product, I just said, hey, I gotta help on this.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, man. And yeah, since then, how many challenges did you pass with the EA?
So successfully, I've passed 3, because right now I have 7 accounts. One of them is a challenge. So I've passed three with this EA. And when I tell people, a lot of people right now, they see the consistency, but they don't know like what I went through before. So, I told you like November. So it was the process. So way back, like in the fall, the market was good. People are just passing challenges, right? But over between November and maybe February, I've messed up challenges, right? But for me, it was always like a learning experience. Like, okay, why did I mess up, or why did I lose this challenge? So yeah, so after then, I've consistently back to back passed those 3 challenges. I've helped a couple of my friends as well. But yeah, to get here, I messed up a lot.
Yeah, of course, like there's like anything else, there's a learning curve to it, right? Like you can't expect to get a brand new strategy that you never use or whatever, and then like magically just start making money out of nowhere. That's not how it works. You gotta,
Yep.
especially back then, because we didn't have as much videos as right now and as much content on how to use it. Now it's different because we've had it even ourselves, we've had it for over a year, right? Since we made it, and we've been able to master it and release better tutorial videos. But back then, there wasn't as many resources as right
Correct.
now. There wasn't the Discord server. There wasn't like people helping you out in the Discord and all of that. So yeah, back then, definitely it would have took longer. But
Mhm.
I feel like now we're at a point where it's a bit easier because there's so many resources, there's so many proven people every day putting out their
Yep.
results and whatnot. But even then, it's not like a magic pill. Like it's a strategy that you need to learn how to use. It's a strategy
Yep.
that if you use it correctly, it's gonna make you money. That's it. There's no ifs, ors, or buts to it. But yeah, so you had 3 challenges that you passed with the EA, and these are now funded accounts.
Correct.
Okay, perfectly. So from your experience, you've been in this game for a good almost a year now or something. How long,
Mhm.
I mean, which prop firms do you like? Which ones are your favorite?
So initially, I liked FTMO because of spreads and everything. But once I think FTMO you max out at 400K. So once you get, because right now I'm pretty much maxed out for FTMO. So I had to go through what's the next one. So I went through I went to MFF. So that's the one I'm still working on maxing out right now. There's Funded Trading Plus that's coming up. I really like their setup. E8 is also good. I'm actually doing a challenge right now on E8, but that's not with the E8. That's another strategy I'm doing on my own. But in that order, so I would say FTMO, MFF, Funded Trading Plus. You have then E8, and then you have a bunch of others.
Nice, nice. And with FTMO, I'm assuming you've been funded for a few months, so I'm expecting you got a bunch of payouts from them as well, right?
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
never had any problems when it comes to that.
No, no.
Yeah, because usually once you get funded with the FTMO, the rest is very smooth. Like
Yep.
the hard part, of course, is getting the funding in the first place. But once you're in, and all you have to do is like preserve your account, make sure that there's no once you're funded, there's no need to really over leverage or do any of that. Because sometimes
That's
I
true.
see you posting, and sometimes you have like a 200K account, but you only make maybe like 500 to 1K per day,
Yep.
and you're like, I'm good with that because
Yep.
you're already funded. So there's no rush on you. There's no need to like go too crazy and get greedy and all that. If you make $500 to $1,000 in a single day, like we're good.
Yep. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. So what would be your usage strategy currently when it comes to the EA? Like, what would also be your favorite session?
So before I ideally did Asia for the most part, for a long time I did Asia and London. So I used to turn it off at around because I'm Eastern Standard Time here. So I used to turn it off like 2 hours before New York. So like if I woke up and then I'm like maybe drawdown is $100 or whatever, and I've made like 1,500, I'm like, hey, better safe than sorry, because there were times, especially during the war, at around 11 a.m. Eastern, gold will just go bonkers, right? And
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I hated, because ideally I was trying to get a strategy. So the account that I post on the Discord, I let that run ideally 24/5 minus the red folders and all that. Because I just want to, for me, it's all about testing. Like I've gotten past the point where it's about the money for me. For me, I just want to know how far can this setting survive. So the issue with trading through, and that's why I was talking to a lot of people today, and they're like, what sessions? So I'm like, if you know what you're doing, yes, you can get away with 24/5. But if you don't know, just learn from it. Because the thing, so I start like normally Asia, like an hour or so after Asia, because you want the markets to
yeah,
at least build some volatility, because you
yeah,
don't want to get stuck in a trend, right? So the thing with trading New York is that New York session can start ranging such that once you get into Asian, you're already in heavy drawdown, or maybe halfway towards your equity protector. So if people can, I would get out of the market, as a beginner. I would get out of the market like 1 hour before New York. If you've already made like 1,500 and your drawdown before New York is like $50, hey, just cut that and then observe how the session goes for like 2 weeks. And then, just get in there and say, okay, I'm going to turn it off like 3 hours after NY. Yeah. So
So
that's my,
basically,
right now, the strategy for that account I post, it's ideally 24/5, even my other accounts, but I normally have a target. So for my other accounts, I'm like, for the 200K, I'm like, oh, if I do 500 a day, that's good. If I do for the 100K, if I do 250 a day, that's okay. Because, with that amount of accounts, you're probably, once I add the profits up together, it's probably maybe like 2K a day or whatever, which is way more than I need. So
yeah,
for me, that's my mentality.
yeah. So basically, if you were a beginner, you would suggest Asian, London, and then cut it off. But
Yes,
of
I
course,
would actually
that would
start.
depend. That would depend on the day. This is one of the things that I feel like a lot of beginners make the mistake of, and they just think in terms of sessions instead of thinking in terms of market structure. Because
Correct.
it can be New York session, but if it's ranging, and you should put it on. And it can
Yep.
be Asian session, and if it's trending, then you should stay away, unless you have
Yep.
a day market strategy, which of course
Yep.
you can do with the EA. But for most beginners, they still didn't get to that level, so they just use the ranging feature.
Yep. Yeah. So for them, yeah, I would say start with Asia alone. Start with then add on to London. Because one thing I wish I did way back if I was a beginner, I would take time off. Because I was using like 100K challenges or 200K because I could afford it at the time. But you get a lot of people who cannot afford those, but then they've maybe been doing demos maybe for 3 months. So I tell people, okay, if you can afford 100K or 200K, 10K account is like $80, a 5K account is like $50. So, just sacrifice even though it's your lunch, because some of these things you do need that emotion, which eventually you also need to conquer that emotion. So it's ideally you're dealing with a lot of things. So for people, I would say, hey, if you can afford 100K, use a 10K, use the 5K, but lower the lot size, to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then, start with Asia, do Asia, London, and also tell people the other thing that I say it's a good way. Like, I hope you hit EP, because when you're winning, it's good. A rising tide lifts all ships, right? If you're winning and you don't know why you're winning, the day maybe you have a 100K account and you've just been winning through your challenges and you don't know why you're winning. If a trend breaks out and then you hit EP in like 20 buck in a $20 move, hey, then you'll be like, okay, then you end up blowing your account. So as those things I'm talking about, start like a small account if you can't afford a big one, and then see how much those settings can survive. So, I have a journal. So I have a journal for all my settings. So I know like this settings can survive a $20 breakout. This settings can survive a $30 breakout. This settings can survive a $80 breakout. So then, what setting do I apply to this account? What setting do I apply to this account? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is something like people should take more serious, like you're doing. So whereas like it's a real strategy. Like you have to actually put in time in it, figure it out. And of course, the more time that you've been using it, the more comfortable you get, the more you understand, because you've gone through different market structures. You understand your settings more, you understand what step size you should be doing if you're expecting this pair to trend, blah, 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 all of these kinds of things. Whereas I feel like a lot of beginners just try to rush everything and try to get it done now, and then just end up failing. Whereas if they took it a bit more slower and actually try to really understand the EA, how it works, settings, and watch all the videos over and over again, they would get successful much faster. But at the same time, you still need to put in that time in the market. You still need to go ahead and experience the failure. You still need to go ahead and experience your account losing. Hopefully it's a demo if you're losing. By the time you
Yep.
get to a real challenge, like you said, you still need skin in the game, because I saw this problem happen to a couple of people to where like in the demos, they absolutely kill it like crazy. They're like, bro, I'm
Yep.
a master at demos. But when I come to the real one, like I don't do as well. And the reason is because emotions. Now they put their own money in, so they have skin in the game.
Yep.
And because of that, they act differently. Like they trade differently. Now they're more scared. They're more this, that. But if they were to just let it run the same way that they did on the demo, they would have the same results. But because of emotions and whatnot, it's a bit harder to control. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. Like, if you can't afford the big accounts, just start off with like a 10K or a 25K or whatever. Put some skin in the game, get a couple of wins, get those challenges done, and then go to the big boys. Go to the 200Ks.
Yep, that's true. And the other thing, like another thing, how I use it, and thank you for the news filter, because that's huge. Because before, when trading, when letting some of my accounts do like 24 hours, I had to be in front of the screen and then, maybe turn off or turn on.
Yeah.
But with the news filter, I just like this morning I had the news filter on and it stopped taking trades. When news came, it went, hit all my TP, and then even up to now, I know we have FOMC coming up in a few whatever minutes. But at least that kind of gives you another protection over. So, knowing what each setting does in the EA, because I have people asking, what setting do you recommend? What TP do you recommend? I'm like, okay, I don't know your strategy, because I can tell you, okay, do a step size of 300, do a step size of 100, but I do not know what your strategy is. And the other thing I would encourage people to do is, you have 30 days, for phase one, right? Break down your profit target into days. So for like the 8%, if you do like 500 a day on MFF, you probably be done with the challenge in like 3.5 weeks or something, right? Because that's 2,500 times 3. So you'll probably be done by with the 8% in like about 3 weeks. So then, just set your daily target, because sometimes you find people putting their daily target in the EA at like 5%. So what happens, you're going to cross that 500 a day. And then when something happens, you hit EP and then you're starting again from like drawdown. And that's what a lot of people go through, right? You start your challenge, you hit drawdown, maybe 100K account, you hit drawdown, maybe at 95K. So by the time you're actually passing that challenge, you've made like 20K instead of, that 8K. So that's just set that target. Yep. Just like, that's what I, when I got past, some of the things I was working on, I'm like, hey, okay, I'm going to hit, my target is 500 a day. If I'm trading up to New York session, I'm like, okay, if it's 1 hour before New York and I've made 450, I call it a day. See you tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah. So basically there's no need to be greedy, because the more that you let it ride into like over your profit target, at the same time, the more risk you're exposed to if things go ahead and reverse on you, and you end up losing way more than you should have for the day.
Yep.
So yeah, of course, you still need to have your emotions under control and have a proper strategy and whatnot. It's not magic. It's not a magic pill. I don't think anything is, but it is definitely a strategy that has worked for a lot of people. So many people pass challenges with it, including yourself. You're living proof of it right here. Over 3 challenges passed and funded. So yeah, man, that's amazing. Okay, let's finish it off with one last piece of advice. If you were to right now go back to November with the same knowledge that you currently have now, okay? Same knowledge that you have now, but it's back in November and you just got the EA, how would you approach your first account? Like, you have one account and you have one chance to pass it. How would you do it?
So first thing, I would break down my profit target, have a daily target during, for each day. And literally, like, if I went back with that, that's all I would use. And I had the same settings with the EA right now, the same knowledge I have. That's ideally what I would do. Breakdown, I did 8%. Okay, if it's a 100K account, I need 500 a day. And that's, for me right now, that's easy to do with a 100K account. And the other piece of advice I'll tell people, for me, what there's a saying, I believe it was Jim Rohn said, work harder on your, goals and dreams than you do at your actual job. Like right now, I'm full-time, I'm fully employed or whatever, full-time staff. But the amount of time I put into trading is probably, so let's just say 40 hours of, my actual job. I probably spend 80 hours, learning trading stuff. So yeah, people need to, like, if you think this is for you and it's not just a part-time thing, put in work. If you work 10 hours a week at your actual job, put in 30 hours into this thing, and it pays more than you can ever imagine. And lastly, the risk to reward, the reward for this, even with the EA and trading in general, is so great, right? Like, think of it this way. Yesterday, I was doing the math. if you blew like 10K, 10K of your own money on challenges, let's say that's a 100K challenge, that's like 20 challenges, right? If you blew that, unless you're just not learning from your mistakes, the day you get funded, right, with a 100K account, you do 200 every day, that's 48K every year on average, right? So, give or take. So it can be 60K, it can be 40K. Either way, you're going to make the money back that you lost. So, losing money, I told people this, losing money is not a bad thing unless you know why you're losing it. Yep. So
Yeah,
that's my takeaway for everybody.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for this interview. I hope people learned a couple of things here that can maybe improve the way that they're using the EA, or maybe new people that don't even know what this EA is about or anything like that. Now they have a clear understanding that, hey, this stuff works. It's not some weird scam or whatever. It's actually a real product. It works if you put in the work to it, and if, of course, you study all the material that we have and all of that good stuff. Anyways, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you gave us your time out of your day to, your busy day. I know you're trading every day. You're super consistent all the time. So thank you so much for giving us your time and doing this interview, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ax.
All right. Bye.